The Oklahoma City Thunder lock up all their top players, and college football make a massive change. All that and more here on Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. I am your host, Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So on today's episode of Unfair Sports, we got a few things to dive into, like we talk about the Thunder's extension. The Big Three is definitely not going to repeat what happened in 2012. College football is about to take a massive change, especially with Congress finally getting involved. And we'll talk a little bit about, some of the top stories around the NBA and the NFL, because that's what we're going to do here on this channel. Hit us up on the Unfair Fan Line, 430-901-1906, and let us know what you think of the show. Give us your strongest opinions, and there's a good chance I may play one of yours back here on the channel. So check us out. Hit us up, 430-901-1906. Yeah, I know. It's been about a week and some change since I dropped another video. I'm behind. I know. Look, there's reasons why, but we're going to figure it out. I told you it's going to be clunky, but we're going to get back on track. And my goal is to get this going on a consistent basis for you all. And the way that I'll do that is by just dropping videos as I can and then eventually getting on a set schedule. My goal is to get back to Tuesdays and Fridays like we used to do. And hopefully maybe during the season, I can do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday deal and really talk like NFL, NBA, college football. I want to cover all the big stuff and mainly talk about the teams that I love. So those that follow me over at like Unfair Sports, my channel around OU, Sooner Later Sports show, follow me with Locked On Sooners, etc. My Colorado content over at Primetime CFB. I got so much stuff that I'm doing. I want to consolidate a lot of it, but the goal is for me to get this started, get this going, because I really want to put together a consistent rolling of content that hopefully will get you all excited going forward. So let's jump into the main topic of discussion for today. I'm going to lead off with the Thunder and the contract situation there. As you can see, the run of the show on the side. We'll make sure that this bad boy updates on a consistent basis. So you got to run into the show there. We're going to start off with Thunder and the Big Three in their contracts. And then we're going to jump right into college football and this new SCORE Act, which I have so many questions about, and what they're trying to do after the settlement. And then, we'll talk about some of the bigger headlines in the NBA, like LeBron opting in and how weird things are when it comes to that. So let's jump off with this. The Oklahoma City Thunder did exactly what we expected them to do. They have decided to pay their Big Three. And I know some people, have questions about what Oklahoma City's doing. Why are they paying like Chet? Why are they paying everybody? And this, that, and the other, without realizing that this is exactly what Oklahoma City planned to do regardless. This leads to another point that I saw. Let me ask y'all this. Now, y'all get in the comments and y'all tell me what you think. If your team was to trade off 3 draft picks, 4 draft picks, and a player to acquire somebody else, and that led to a championship, do you think those trades were worth it at the time? I ask that now. And I say that because I heard an interesting conversation over on the Dominique Foxworth show about a week ago. And they talked about this whole Giannis situation. Don't worry, I'll land this plane when it comes to talking about Oklahoma City's Big Three. But the Giannis situation is interesting because now everybody's thinking that he's going to ask for a trade or the Bucks are going to trade him. And now people are truly criticizing all of the moves that the Bucks have done over the last couple of years, when the main move that they made got them a championship there in Milwaukee. Would you, if there's a Bucks fan listening, would you give up that trade that you did and give up that championship to get rid of that trade and do something different for a long-term viable solution? Be honest. Because I'm going to say this about I think majority of the casual fans would say, you win a championship, we good. Now, granted, everybody wants to build a dynasty and have the opportunity for that, and that's really something that's borderline impossible to do. Golden State basically gave you that, before they got Kevin Durant, and then they got Kevin in free agency to just add to it. But for the most part, it's very hard to win a championship without making big moves that could potentially sacrifice your future. That is not what Oklahoma City has done. Now, OKC's big three will account for roughly about 80%, 75 to 80% of their cap, right around 26, 27 season-ish, more so 27 season, 28 season. And so when you look at the chart of the money or whatnot, this is how Sam Presti has put this team in the right spot. Now, Dub gets a 5-year, $287 million. You get Chet on a massive, up to 250. So he gets the smaller one. Shea gets the 200 and 85 over 4 years. So no, he didn't take a pay cut. He's still going to take the same percentage of the cap. It's just, he just extended 4 instead of waiting a year when he's out of contract to do the full 5. So the Thunder have allocated $822 million to their team. $822 million to the big three. And the Thunder have shown us that they're not going to allow what happened in 2012 with the James Harden situation with them, Russ and KD. Not going to happen again. The best part is they were able to do it after a championship instead of before, so there's no questions about it. But people are asking questions and keep pointing that Oklahoma City is going to hit that second apron immediately, and they're not going to be able to compete long term. Have y'all never watched the NBA before? Because majority of teams that win championships have a big three that make majority of the money on the team. That's just what it is. You go after the talent that's doing it. Chet only played 32 games in the regular season last year, and this team still won 68 games. They can easily repeat that with Chet playing a full year. Isaiah Hartenstein missed, 20, 30 games last year? So they didn't play 100% majority of this year. Then they went to the playoffs, and they were able to figure it out as a team. That's the one thing I think we're not realizing is that they didn't have a full season with everybody. So there was still some gelling that had to happen in the playoffs. Keep that in mind. But the fact that Presti has something that a lot of people don't get or understand is he got a ton of draft picks. And I mean a ton of draft picks. I think it's like 30 over the next 6 years with like 12 or 14 of them being first rounders potentially. Those picks are there specifically to fill the roster with players that are viable and can play in this league and for this team. He's going to have to replace people over time. And when I looked at this graph that showed what the payroll looks like, shout out to Gabriel Guzman. Go follow him on the expert at NBAvisuals.com. But he's showing you all of the money here. This is the saving grace for Oklahoma City. 2 things. 1, all the rookie extensions, they did not provide a team or a player option on it last year. 100%. It's 5 years or 4 years. You're going to be here the entire time. That's great negotiation on Oklahoma City's part. Why? Because it allows flexibility when it comes to the stars. Those stars are there and they ain't going nowhere past their 5 years. Because all their contracts basically are completely lined up to the 30-31 season. But what he did do, and this is where the genius of Sam Presti populates, is he got Hartenstein, he got Lou Dort, basically any and everybody else that signed are all signed to good old slashes, which are considered as team option contracts. So what does that mean? So when you look at the contracts for the Thunder, this is where things get a little squirrely. At the end of next season, some decisions have to be made after the 25-26 season. Hartenstein, Lou Dort will both have team options. Kendrick Williams will have a team option. Casey Wallace will, of course, have a team option. Same with Nikola Topic. And then you got qualifying offers for Usman Zhang, and that's it. So what Oklahoma City's most likely going to do is rescind the Usman Zhang one. No shade to him, but they're going to probably negotiate that down. But they're going to opt out of Isaiah Hartenstein as well as Lou Dort's contracts. 28.5 to 18 and 18 mil. They're gonna opt out of those. They're going to take team options out. Same thing with Kenrich. But what Oklahoma City can do, which makes this a genius move on their part, and the great flexibility you need is they're going to renegotiate those contracts. They're going to try to extend them longer, potentially, and get them to take cuts. That's why they front-loaded Hartenstein's contract so much. They gave him $30 million the first year. But it's like, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would you overpay him so much? They had cap space. So they put themselves in a situation where they're going to overpay everybody up front and watch things go down. Isaiah Joe's contract was the exact same. It was a bigger contract that went down. I think they'll do the same thing with Case and Wallace as they figure out who they can pay the most up front and scale it down. Or they may just go standard with Kaysen and do similar to what they did with maybe like Jalen Williams and pay him more and let him continue to accelerate up. Or like even Caruso's. But that's the thing that a lot of fans aren't getting is that Oklahoma City has a plan. You can tell Presti had a plan because he acquired all those contracts and those draft picks specifically to be able to leverage and manipulate things over the next 4 or 5 years. Then from there, he'll continue to, some draft picks will get kicked out further. You'll see those trades. He keeps doing it. He'll send some trades out, draft picks out to first rounders later on in a few years and use that as a way to be able to manipulate these contracts and set up the Thunder to where they can keep not only their big three together if they want to, but also be able to build and create and nurture the next star player that could be here with the Thunder. Sam Presti obviously knows what he's doing because he's got, he got SGA, made him into an MVP by giving him a chance. Russ, KD, MVPs. He drafted James Harden when people questioned him drafting him so high, and James Harden ended up being an MVP. He's done everything that you're supposed to build, and the best part is his 17 years of experience, he's learned a lot of lessons. Remember, those hard lessons he learned at the beginning, he was young. He was young when he took over the Thunder, when he took over the Sonics. He was young. He was in mid-20s, mid-late 20s. Now he's starting to show that, okay, this is what I've learned that I need to do in order to do this right. And he's going to continue that. That dude don't sleep. He continues to hustle and grind. So understand, you may be looking at these contracts thinking Oklahoma City's going to be in trouble next couple of years. They're not. They're going to renegotiate all the contracts that they have for players. AJ Mitchell got a 3-year, $9 million deal. And they are very high on AJ Mitchell. If he decides to turn out, there's players they're going to be casualties because it's just the NBA. If you've never watched the NBA, then obviously you wouldn't know that. But that's what happens in the league. You've got to move pieces around in order to be successful long term. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I want to hear y'all's thoughts. I really want to know if Oklahoma City makes a trade that leads to another championship, would you be mad if it hurt something in the future? Because I really don't believe any of you believe that as much as you're trying to tell me that. All right, next up, let's talk college football. Fascinating stuff going on right now. And the SCORE Act that the House just passed that I think is probably DOA. So whenever you're dealing with like a major problem, a lot of us try to find ways to resolve it. So like, for example, I'm thinking about like with my kids, having a conversation with my son in regards to dealing with a major problem and not being afraid to confront it and take care of it. Some people will see said problem and they'll stop, think about it, try to find a solution for it, and try to figure out the timeline of getting said solution solved and going forward from there. Some people will run from it, like a little kid. They'll run from the problem and just hope it magically disappears. And some people will go straight head forward into it without any true thought and hope that they can resolve it as they go down the line. Well, the NCAA did not do that. The NCAA decided that we're going to pass this buck and we're going to kick this can down the line as far as possible. and just hope that people forget about it. Well, now we're here in the world of the NCAA. What world are we in today? The NIL world, rev share, everything has piled on for the most part over the last couple of years and have really dramatically changed the world. One of the bigger components here is as NIL is taking over, the pay for play thing is just blowing up. Collectives are taking advantage of the opportunities to pay players in whatever ridiculous way they want to. And the NCAA has literally no power. Talked about it with my guy John over Locked On Sooners. You can check out that episode. But one thing that came from my conversation is no matter what the NCAA tries to do, they're going to get sued. Because everything they're trying to do hinders the constitutional right of people to have the opportunity to make money, especially when they're generating billions of dollars for everybody else. And I say this wholeheartedly that I believe players should be paid. If you're a sports generating money, you should get a portion of that. Why? Because these coaches are getting paid ridiculous money to coach these sports. And now they're making more than NFL head coaches. A lot of them. So the NCAA saw this, and instead of saying, you know what, we need to find a mechanism to where the players can be compensated while doing this, and we can still make our money. Nope, they're trying to find ways to keep as much money as possible. And so when the House settlement came down and the judge and the $2.78 billion settlement, back pay for like the last 10 years or whatnot, and then players now get a portion of the revenue share. They're capping it at 20-something mil and all of that jazz. I will give you I'm going to break down the details on that in another episode so you guys can get a timeline of what this means. But we're now at the point where the settlement rev shares kicked in. They have the clearinghouse, Deloitte, which is supposed to go through and look at these NIL deals and mark them as good or bad. And it appears that all of the NIL collective deals that are put in there, regardless of price, because the threshold number is $600. Anything over $600 has to be submitted. A lot of them are being denied. And you know what that means? More lawsuits. More change is coming down the line. And so from there, the NCAA has been begging somebody else to fix their problem. So they went to Congress years ago, begging them to fix it, but asking them, hey, if you fix it, we still want to have antitrust rights. We don't want to continue to keep getting sued. We want you to protect us. So here we are. The SCORE Act is out. The SCORE Act. Now, do I, in any way, shape, or form, feel good about this bill? No. I feel like it's just a way to shut everybody up. That's really all it is. Because the House passed it, it's going to the Senate. They're hoping that the Senate will pass this as well. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't see it passing. I think it's dead on arrival because what this SCORE Act does is the name of it, the SCORE Act, is the Student Compensation and Opportunity Through Rights and Endorsements Act. So SCORE. So their goal is to reform the student first model, defending Olympic sports. Schools can defend Olympic sports if they really want to. They just choose not to. Shielding athletes from being exploited by bad actors. That's an intriguing one. Establishing clear regulation, authority, and enforcement mechanisms, and improving transparency and accountability to better protect athletes and universities. There's some good stuff in this, but the thing that intrigues me the most is that the empowerment of student athletes with NIL, hiring agents, giving them protection on that, and the bill prohibits pay for play and predatory compensation schemes while reversing appropriate guarantees to agents' access. So their goal is to protect these players while at the same time they're trying to make it to where there are caps and stop stuff. So they want to create a smarter system to allow for like transfer portal stuff, health after graduation or injury for up to 3 years post enrollment, things of that nature. So there's a lot of good stuff and good natured things in here. But here's your problem. A lot of this stuff in this bill and a lot of this stuff is really not geared for the player players' benefit. This is more for the NCAA and the corporation's benefit. This is not for the working class people. And I say that specifically because if you try to put a cap on name, image, and likeness, which is your name, your image, and your likeness, basically what free market's willing to pay you, you're just hindering everything else that's going on. The one thing in this bill that I do appreciate that the NCAA just did not have the balls to go ahead and get done themselves is actually having guidelines around the transfer portal or reducing it down to one window. Now, we've heard the conversations have happened numerous times, but the question is, will they ever get to that point? Probably not. But there's one AD out there in college football. Shout out to him, Danny White over there at Tennessee. He's tired of this mess because with this bill, they are trying to make it to where the students cannot be employees at all. Totally understand that's a big it's a can of worms that they don't want to open. But Danny White's not there for it. He's like, it's time to go public. He said at an event, a gathering of athletic administrators at the Orlando World Center Marriott, I've been voicing it in private rooms for 4 years, and I'm not biting my tongue anymore. He put out a presentation about doing collective bargaining. Dun, dun, dun. We're now at that point, folks. We are here where collective bargaining is going to happen. Shout out to Ross Dellinger over there at Yahoo, who had the article up back in end of June, beginning of July. Danny White has been talking about we need to get to a collective bargaining situation with these players and allow for them to bargain the cap based upon everything. And I think he's right. Now, it's a very complicated and complex situation. And of course, a lot of people don't like unions and everything or whatnot. But at the same time, their purpose is to make sure to keep fighting for you. The collective bargaining component of this works, to me, if you can implement it right. And that's where the hard part comes in. Again, I said this is very complex and complicated. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on it. But at the surface level and at the most remedial level of talking about this, they need to figure out a way to have people on a board to be able to collectively bargain this stuff at the top. I guess somebody from each school. And then their job is to negotiate in good faith to put this collective bargaining in place so the players can actually reap the benefits from their athleticism. This is about to change, and this is going to be a fluid situation. We're going to talk about this probably for a long time because it's something to talk about all the time. It's intriguing to see that they're wanting to get this set to where contracts work properly and that the players can get paid, the money can be divvied properly, and they can find a way to save Olympic sports, just like the bill that came from the House is trying to. I 100% agree. I want Olympic sports to survive. The problem is that we don't support Olympic sports until the Olympics come around. That is where you run into your issue. That is where the problems lie. We don't just watch Olympic sports every single week or month or year. We get into it during the Olympics, and that's kind of the thing that makes them so special. It's one of those every 4 years, we get all patriotic and we watch the games. It's a plus. We've got to find a way for them to still be funded similar to how we've been funding it before. Like right now, they're funded off the backs of football and basketball because they're the sports that everybody wants to watch. Some schools, baseball. Some schools, women's basketball. But football is king. Football is the sport that is funding all of this because it's the one with the most eyeballs. It's the one with the largest contracts. And it's the one that helps with all of that. We've got to find a way to be able to allow that. But at the same time, we need to compensate the players that are bringing in this revenue the most. They're the ones that deserve it the most. Now, there's a model that was created by Danny White. We'll talk about that on another episode because it'll be a long-winded conversation. I think I'll do a video to break it down and what I really feel about it. But let's put it this way. That act, that Scores Act, that bad boy's dead. It's DOA. It's not going to probably make it through. I could be wrong. I may eat crow on it, but I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be tough for them to push that through and actually close it. I don't trust it whatsoever. Next up, let's talk about the NBA free agency. Why? Because it's my favorite. I love it more than any free agency. Let's dive into why. NBA free agency. It is my favorite time of year. Why, you may be asking the question, Jay, why do you love NBA free agency so much? Well, it gives you literally the best stories. Like, NFL free agency is fun. It's cool. There's always good stuff going on there. But you know the big difference between NBA free agency and NFL free agency or any other free agency? NBA free agency always involves some sort of drama with a star player. And you see more star players move around very often. Like in the NFL, you didn't get that very often. It was rare that you saw a quarterback enter free agency and go somewhere. And it was typically because teams really didn't actually want him like that. Or they didn't think he was that good. They didn't want to hitch themselves to the massive contracts they have to. And they let him walk. And with the NFL, with their hard cap, you see a lot of players that are stars, for the most part, they just get cut. So that's an everyday thing for us. We're used to it. NBA free agency always got some wild stuff going on. The Milwaukee Bucks cut Damian Lillard and stretched his contract, his $113 million contract over 5 years, just like 20-something million a year that they're going to have in dead cap. The Saints got feels like 80 million in dead cap like every year. It's like the Saints always, like the cap isn't real when it comes to New Orleans Saints. They find ways to stretch out their money to where they're always got an ability to sign free agents. So everybody's like, well, how do the Saints do it? How do the Saints wiggle their way out of this? Like, there's no way that they're going to wiggle their way out of the situation. And then what happens? The Saints wiggles their way out of the situation. That is a common thing. You seeing teams pull this, which is wild to me that they're, people willing to stretch. DeAndre Ayton gets cut from Portland. Cut the man, and he goes and he signs with the Lakers. This is not this. This is why the NBA is so much more fun for me in free agency, because there's always some wild storyline. Now, LeBron opted into his $52 million contract, so this will be his last year with the Lakers, and I guarantee you, it is the last time you will see that man in a Laker jersey. The reason is, article came out actually this morning. The Lakers have not offered LeBron a contract long term, so that should tell you that they're like, nah, we're done, we're good. We're going to go ahead and move on and do our youth movement. Are the Lakers wrong for that? No, they are not. They are actually right for doing that. They're right for not extending him. LeBron's going to his 23rd season. It's time to go focus on the young and try to build a championship caliber roster. Now, JJ Redick's going to have some fun with DeAndre Ayton out there because, if you go watch the videos, everybody's got enough content about that dude and the effort you get out of him. You just got to hope that he actually shows up and plays. And that's no shade to him. It's just the truth. Like the for real truth. You don't know what you're going to get out of that man. But you do know that LeBron is going to play hard. You don't know what you're going to get out of Luka because, let's keep it a buck. Everybody keeps bagging on the Luka situation in that trade. And y'all are right. Nico's dumb for doing it. But Nico had a point. Didn't make he was right, but he had a good point. A lot of y'all pointed out Luka kind of disappeared in the playoffs. Happens. Dallas lucked out. Well, I don't know if it's luck that Kyrie Irving tears his ACL and then they get the number 1 pick. I don't know if that's really luck, to be honest, because they were going to make the playoffs and they just didn't because Kyrie tore his ACL and Anthony Davis was back in his street clothes. But that's the drama you get out of NBA free agency. You always get this stuff. So LeBron opts in, and of course the statement he puts out there is that they understand that the Lakers are moving to a youth movement, that they want to they want to compete for championships and blah blah blah. So a lot of people were asking the question, why would he opt in? Why don't you just opt out and go somewhere else? I don't know if y'all noticed this, so I went back and I started digging. Can y'all tell me the last time a star player signed with the Lakers, like signed as a free agent? Free agent signing, like a star, like someone you would consider as a star, not at the end of their prime. I'm talking about like star player. LeBron did it as a free agent. Shaquille O'Neal. That's your gap. In between there, what was it? They traded and got Kobe Bryant from the draft. They just traded for Luka. They traded for Pau Gasol. A lot of your big name players, I mean, besides like the Karl Malone, Dwight Howard era or whatnot, they get them in trade acquisitions. People don't just go to the Lakers like that. Like it always makes me laugh when the conversation comes up. One of the people I love listening to, by Monty Jones, he talks about abolishment of the NBA draft, and people are like, "Oh, if you do that, the Lakers and the Clippers will get all the players and blah blah blah." And it's like, but the Lakers and them have the opportunity to get players during free agency, and nobody goes there. Like, they just don't choose to go there as free agents. You have to trade for them. It's the only time you can get them there. Because a lot of players, they could easily just go opt out of their contract, or just, opt out, player option, or play to the end of their contract, leave like Kevin Durant did with the Golden State. Players can do that, but most of them don't. They give the teams the opportunity to say, hey, if you want to get something for me, because I'm not going to re-sign with you all like Paul George did, probably should trade me. Teams will do that. But it's always fascinating to me that people actually think that the Lakers can get free agents. Show me when they do it. Tell me when. That's the fun part about it, because you don't really see that happen. Like a Jalen Brunson going to New York, you're not going to see that going to the Lakers. They rarely have the cap space for it. And when they have the cap space for it, remember, they sucked for 5 years before LeBron went there. Why didn't nobody go there and save them? Y'all tell me, why did no one go to the Lakers and save them? If they're the program that everybody's like, oh, definitely would go there, why hasn't anybody done it besides LeBron? And everybody's expectation for LeBron going there wasn't because he wanted to play for the Lakers. It was because he's going to get into movies and do all kinds of stuff. And technically, he did get into a lot of that stuff in Hollywood. But you don't get that from LA very often. You don't get a lot of players going there as free agents. And so it's funny to see that. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm hoping this is one of the last times I really talk about LeBron and talk about NBA free agency in this capacity, because I really think we should be focusing on a lot of these young stars. There's so many young stars out there, from, my guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to, Anthony Edwards. He's one of my favorites, period. Not only is he a fun interview, Duke and hoop, he's just fun to watch, and he's only 23 years old. So we've got time with him. I like looking at some of the young players that are sort of making some waves, and I think that we should focus on a lot more of them in comparison of these old heads. And so that's going to be my goal. My goal is to go look at some of these max contract guys, these young dudes, and really hype them up and talk some ball about them. Because, of course, the drama of the NBA is always fun to talk about. It's the thing that gets the most clicks. I'm going to tell you all right now. If I want maximizing my clicks, it's talking about them. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to I just want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. And this is where I'm going to do it. And so we'll see. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully this becomes a part of your rotations of shows, that I become a part of your world. But hey, all in all, 100%, this Laker thing is going to be crazy, because, they got their young Luka. Now they got DeAndre Ayton. We'll see how that works out. I don't think it does. I think it gets to a point where somebody got to go. But LeBron opting in really was a help to the Lakers. Now they can move his $52 million contract to somebody that's willing to give up somebody if they're trying to tank. Now, granted, they're going to have to get another team in to try to find a way to get a first-round draft pick to send in LeBron's back pocket. But if a team feels like they need to just go ahead and shut the door, they're going to trade for that $52 million contract that's about to fall off their books. And possibly follow the Sam Presti system of playing young players and figuring out who's going to be the best option. It can happen. So we'll see if the Lakers actually get smart and try that route. I don't know. Or if anybody else decides that they want to go ahead and trade for LeBron so they can try the Sam Presti system. We'll see. There's no guarantee that it's going to happen, but at the same time, keeping it a buck, that's what you should do if you're smart. Thank y'all for pulling up. Put together one quick small show for you. I told you I was going to try to get back on track. I know I've been slacking on y'all. We're going to get there. It's a little clunky, but we're going to get there. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. And yeah, we'll try to get more of these out the door over the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes open. We'll talk more about the Scores Act and the NCAA stuff that's going down. That's the thing that intrigued me the most. As y'all know, over my other channel, Unfair Sports, here on YouTube, you can find my talks on college football, mainly OU football, SEC, and college football in general. Find me at Locked On Sooners. Also, my other channel, Primetime CFB. My Colorado channel, I'm talking Colorado content. Got all kinds of stuff. I'm all over the place. So until next time, chop it up with all of you. Next few. Peace.